Shit, I just realized my default thing. Let's all right.
Hello. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for being here.
Fuck it.
We really
I'm just
appreciate
gonna do it with the weird
a bunch
thumbnail.
of really familiar faces and some new faces as well. I'm Joey. I lead the Discover team, and I'm here with Kent.
I'm Ken. I work
All
for
right.
Discover.
I need to put on my thinking
Various
cap.
other areas of Fortnite.
All right.
Here.
Where's my
Lead on the presentation, which is a great opportunity for him.
let's do
And
my
I'll
private
be here
thing.
talking a bit as well.
Okay, there we go.
So excited to hear from
There
you.
we go. Oop.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I woke up 2 days ago and my voice was gone. So
Yup.
I will be drinking
There
tea
we go.
while I go, and hopefully it's not too scratchy and too unbearable. But yeah, only like 25 minutes, and then we'll probably spend the rest doing like a Q&A at the end. So let's get started. Our talk again is
There we
called
go.
Success in Discover.
That's all. Everything set. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Familiar. Key metrics, so introducing Discover Score,
my
content testing, and talking
stream.
about sophistication.
Today we're discussing the new Unreal Engine 5.6 stuff. You know.
UI, and then some just like
So yeah.
more miscellaneous features related to like matchmaking, favor to creator, stuff like that.
All right.
The other thing that I just want to
Right now it looks like they're starting with
a lot of this is
UI changes and stuff like basic.
we've had a pretty major
Like it looks like here they're talking about basic stuff that's like
so as we
really useful
we want
for
to
getting down in the weeds.
with you, especially when there are substantial
Um,
Discover algorithms, things like that.
like,
We want to use the new Discover documentation.
but it's not really like super useful for like individuals.
Different messaging on socials.
But they've also got some stuff with metahumans and stuff coming up as well.
But we're really
And some stuff with Fortnite that look insane. So yeah, this is looking pretty good.
very similar slide of like how
Very much entertaining
satisfaction. Um,
for gamers coming up.
layer deeper than we did in the previous session. So again, attraction is just how well your island converts impressions into sustained engagement. Again, sustained engagement is players playing consistently after they click into an experience and not just joining.
I will say this: in focusing more on engagement and attraction than satisfaction is kind of lame.
And then some of the metrics in particular that we talk that we look
Like
at
if
are
people are engaging with content more than they are
percentage of players that are leaving
satisfied with it,
10 minutes into
that means that the content is bad,
highlight
right?
metrics here.
It makes you money,
Are used in various parts of
but it doesn't make the customer happy. And long term engagement comes from customer satisfaction, right? So like if customers aren't satisfied,
interested in your island once they
then engagement go down,
and players coming back to
right? And attraction go down.
metrics here like minutes per player.
So you need to focus a bit on satisfaction as well. Like I'd say like it's sort of like First Descendant. It focused very heavily on attraction and engagement
who come back
and not enough on satisfaction. So what happened? Well, 99% of the players kind of
players who came the next
dipped.
day, and then
The engagement went down and the attraction went down, right? Because anyone can make a hot chick. I know like a lot of AAA games haven't done it lately, but anyone can. So because of that,
players over the last 90
those elements were not really as
we use 90
big of a
hours
selling
here.
point as as they probably wanted them to be,
One, it sort of like inherently bakes in
because
a little bit of
satisfaction wasn't a
into
focus.
a lot of the different metrics.
Always focus on fun gameplay, basically. Like that's the thing. Like
Someone plays my game
people are saying
multiple
Doom:
sessions,
The Dark Ages is doing poorly because it's not doing as well as Clair Obscur, which Clair Obscur is an amazing game,
all of those sessions
and it
together,
deserves
and
every bit of
combined
praise it's
becomes
getting.
the, like,
But it's not.
engagement that you
Doom: The
get,
Dark Ages
with
is
that
not
gameplay.
doing bad.
So it's okay that a player plays for 5 minutes.
Clair
drops
Obscur
out,
is just
comes
doing
back,
way
plays
better,
again, and
right?
come back again the next day. Those are all the
So what's
different things we want to
happening,
see players
right?
jump
What's
in,
happening
returning to their favorite experiences.
is Doom: The Dark Ages focus on satisfaction, so it's getting all its numbers over time, but it's
So this is
getting
up on Friday
sustained
as we released
numbers,
some of the
right?
documentation.
Like the people playing Doom: The Dark Ages right now will be playing it in a couple years' time still because they're kind of liking the game as it is, as a game. They don't need new content, they just need to play the game. It's sort of like Resident Evil 4. Like, you don't need new content for Resident Evil 4 to drive engagement, you just need Resident Evil 4. The game stands on its own with no updates ever needed.
A few of the top sort of genres across the ecosystem and just looked at average idle rates for those different genres across all islands within that genre. And so this was the rough breakdown. All of these fall like well within the like filters that we are using.
Yeah, so people are more playing survival than they are the other ones.
Different Discover rows.
Basically, people are more idle in Team Deathmatch and Free-for-All. This just shows, I'd argue this shows that Zone Wars and Survival are more fun.
Best place to go to play games with your friends.
Tycoon, though, is idle, though. So, like, you can't really compare Tycoon, because Tycoon is going to be more idle than Survival or Zone Wars,
That is actually something
right? Because of just how the nature of that game works. But Team Deathmatch, having a high idle rate means the way it's made is not fun. That's what that means. They need to improve Team Deathmatch. Because you should not have people idle in Team Deathmatch. That just should not be a fucking
You can still
thing.
be flagged as idle in the lobby while spectating or while playing a game.
Right.
And again, it's a very strict definition. If you press anything, you are no longer idle for that entire minute. So I could press one button, wait 50 seconds. If it's still in that
Yeah,
minute,
see,
I'm still
Tycoon,
active.
like, those
We haven't
games you can
changed it.
actually
It's
have
just
a
matter of
reason to not
basically
press
people
buttons for a
going
minute, though.
AFK for really extended periods of
Right?
time.
Because a lot of those
Imagine
games are
someone who sits
timer-based,
in an island
right?
For just hours and hours.
You know, a micromanaging game is going to have a high idle rate, right? But this should not. This should never have any idle rate. Like, that should have the lowest idle rate. Team Deathmatch is usually like
that they just had on your island.
outside of regular deathmatch is usually like the highest
Again, the metrics here I think are pretty straightforward. We've given you sort of
engagement
scores,
mode in
satisfaction
anything,
scores,
right? Because it's satisfying, right? It's not just engagement, it's satisfying. You just get a team together automatically and play with them. Like, that's what we did with Doom and Halo.
Traction, engagement,
You know, like that's really what it comes down to, right? Like, some of these are great, but like the fact that Team Deathmatch in their game is having a high idle rate is proof that they need to make Team Deathmatch better. Like, that's what that means. Like, people want to... Team Deathmatch is poggers if you do it right. You gotta do it right. You gotta do it right, Epic. But, like, the other modes are making sense, right? They also got a Walking Dead mode. Now, I'm gonna be playing Fortnite. I thought I would never be playing Fortnite.
If you go to the next slide,
I'm gonna be playing
great
Fortnite.
questions after the documentation came out.
I didn't know that they had
Too crazy. If you go
improved the
this is called a standard
PvE elements to have Walking Dead and the
we have to compare numbers
stuff
that are quite different
with
from
it.
each other.
I'm looking at it now. I'm like, holy shit! Where was
Go up to like 50
where was all this
So how
news?
do I have a number that's like 0.2?
Like,
Very
Fortnite is
same
just
weight as a number
way
that's
more poggers than I thought. Holy shit!
comes in. Where first we apply a logarithm.
I'd be playing that and Lego Fortnite a lot
Tails are not
now.
driving the score too much.
God damn.
Maybe I'm really spiky on one metric and then everything else is pretty bland. We don't want to necessarily over-index that you're really good at just one thing. So that's where the
I know
logarithm
Lego
comes in
Fortnite
to
was
kinda compress
pretty
this
good though.
distribution down.
Like, that was already
And then
pretty
from
good,
there,
but
for each metric, we look at the
they also
average for
updated that to
metric,
be even
and
better.
the distribution, aka the standard deviation, to understand.
This is
say the average
talking about
click-through rate is
code.
96.
So I guess the first stream is going to be all about
This allows
code
us to take a really holistic view of island quality and not trying to over-index
and
any one of the
optimizations
metrics,
and stuff,
ensuring
which
that
should
all
actually
users
be a
are
thing that they do
attention.
need to focus on,
And right
because a
now,
lot of
we
developers
mostly
do
use drive
struggle with
Euro
this.
in our recommendation systems, but going forward, we want to find ways to
So
one-up
wait, no, this
overall
is more
and
talking about
overall
like
scores, but then also integrate
um,
deeper into other parts of Discover as we gain faith. in
statistics.
Discover that
Never mind.
it's actually
Logarithm. This is
identifying
just
muscle
logarithm
memory. So with that,
logarithms
I'm gonna
and
walk
stuff.
through math with you all, and Joey's gonna keep going.
Yeah, the only thing that I would just add on is I think one of the really powerful things about this score is
Okay, so
as you make changes and you make your island
yeah, it's
change,
just
you make
basic
changes per
statistics.
player, and you increase how much fun players are having, your score pretty immediately reflects that. It starts to go up. You start getting shown more in recommendations. You start getting shown more in other rows. And you kind of create this really solid feedback loop. I think that's why it's really important that we provide a lot of this data back to you in Creator.
So the
Analytics,
average
or
and
via
standard
the APIs.
deviation.
I think I didn't say
So
it at the beginning, but,
it's
like, we introduced a ton of new stuff, I would say, in the last
the log
couple
minus the
days. We're
average
kinda still
divided
catching
by
up
the
and being
standard
like, okay,
deviation
well,
plus 1.
a bunch
Oh,
of the
damn.
things we added, we don't actually tell you yet. Like, we
Alright.
need to tell you those things, and so all of that is like
And
conversation.
yeah, these are all things you have to look at with statistics. This is why like this is why like everyone argues about statistics with like stuff is always wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they always talk about the dumbest stuff with it, and then it's like, nah, you need to look at all these variables. You can't just isolate a variable and say this is the cause,
We make an effort
without looking at the other variables first, right?
in a 4 to 7
And like if like a good way to say that is like this is a political channel, so I'm just gonna get into it. With a lot of people argue about like race politics and stuff, right? With using statistics, they're like per capita, black people commit more crime, and it's like, yeah, but if you also look at the other variables, it's not black people, it's single father, far left, deeply impoverished, in an already high crime environment. Like when you really look into the nitty gritty and the weeds of stuff, it's a cultural problem as well as like a problem with like people not having the right family type of environment as well, right? There's a reason the nuclear family is promoted, right, so heavily in media and stuff back in the day, right? It's because it's the best, right? Well, if you have a baby mama, you're not a nuclear family, right? So that's like the thing. We need to start like, if you get black culture to promote having fathers and less baby daddies, it will immediately, a lot of those crime rates will drop, because that's what it actually is. It has nothing to do with skin color or race. It has everything to do with culture. And that culture can easily change if you force it to, and really like, and you force it to, not through like governmental force, but like basically you kind of like guide it to it in a way that there's no way it can make a mistake, kind of thing. You get the idea.
We're using something called sophistication score, which is
it could easily be done for a pretty low amount of tax money, and we would never have to spend that money again. That's like how like situations like these should be done. Like, hey, incentivize people to have incentivize people to have kids together and stay with their kids, and ultimately like a lot of these issues go away. But people don't want to do that. Another thing, right, I think that needs to be incentivized is less social media.
And again, just calling out
like, it shouldn't be a law, but it should be an incentivization that parents should not put kids on social media.
Every day, which is basically looking for games.
Like kids should not really be playing all these kinds of things without like parental guidance, right? As in, parents should be watching what games their kids play, just like they watch them when they're playing outside. And if they're not, that's also bad, right? Like, kids should always, if kids are in an area where adults can be, including online, they should always be watched by their parents to make sure that their parents know that they're safe and okay.
And now the natural step after you block publishing of an exact match is I'm going to make it a near exact match. And that's where Discover downranking comes in, where maps that have very high overlap scores with other games on thumbnails and titles could receive a Discover downranking. And again, every map that would receive this is going to receive a warning right there in the creator portal that this could happen.
Yeah, this doesn't really show what the stream is saying, I guess, but it will. I know because I saw like the pre-stream, and usually like the first bit is kind of lame, because the first bit is, of course, of these streams is, of course, the you know,
Next
the
slide.
optimization bits and stuff that they have to tell you, and all the
Such a hot topic,
engagement
we wanted to bring it to you nice and
statistics
early.
and all the other bullshit that's
We wanted to
corporate
show you
stuff that they have to
appropriate
tell you
content. You as a
to
creator
basically
who's
say,
using
hey,
Islands to build published islands with very similar names
we
to existing
talk to our
Havoc
investors
Hotel 1
too.
and Havoc Hotel 2.
You
That would be
know,
totally fine.
it sucks, but
And we wanna
like
start
a
at the
lot
top
of this
with
has to be
brand
done.
new islands. And we wanna
As much
expand
as
from there,
stupid
depending on
as
how
it
that
is, I
goes.
bet you
We don't
90%
wanna
of these
try to
people
create
don't even
massive
want to fucking
disruption to
talk
existing
about
games
this
that already have
bullshit.
an audience that are
Like, we don't really
doing
care. We
their thing.
create games
We
and
wanna start by the
for
inflow of
gamers. What the
content
fuck does this
to be
shit matter?
extremely similar.
But they're doing it because, you know,
And
corporate
finally,
investors
as you
unfortunately
see,
rule
we
everyone,
wanna become
right?
ever more transparent
It's why, like, I am glad I don't have to deal with
And
that
so
stuff.
before this is launched,
I try to stay away from
update
corporate
with
invest
much
and
deeper
stuff
specifics on how this
for a
was
reason.
specifically implemented and what it means for your
You know?
islands and your publishes going forward.
Great.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about search and for you. We made some changes to search recently. And so now search is using a kind of hybrid approach combining two different algorithms, keyword matching and semantic search. And this is something that we're going to
All right, we need to really
couple of months.
get to
Keyword
the
matching basically just returns islands that contain sort of
cool
exotic
bits
text
soon.
keyword matches for the user.
Hello, everyone who's
where
coming in
semantic
now.
search looks for islands that are semantically similar, and so sort of what that means.
Thank you for joining the stream. And yeah, this is Unreal Fest. The first stream is starting with corporate gobbledygook, but it will eventually get to the good shit. I know because I saw the roadmap. And I also saw the pre-stream. The pre-stream, I can tell you, is amazing. Like, I can go watch the pre-stream while this dude is talking corpo bullshit, but I don't know when it'll stop, and that's the only issue. Like, cause the corpo bullshit is boring. But we can go live, and we can,
the standard
here we
we hold
go.
ourselves to is that like there should never be a case where if I type in my game's title, the game doesn't get returned.
So like here's
we're gonna kind of experiment with different versions, different
like here's some cool stuff right here
more variables over time. We're also gonna be
to
trialing two different
show you what I
UI
mean.
UX versions of search that you're gonna see over the coming
So we
months.
got
We have
lighting
some slides over there
presets
that
and
we'll-
stuff that you can use.
Okay, I also wanted to take
Split.
a couple minutes
Whatever.
to go through how For You works across Discovered.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of this is in the Discovered documentation, so I'll try not to spend too much time getting into the details. But I do think it's really interesting, and this is an area that we want to continue to lean into, just because of how effective we think it is at both like surfacing a variety of content
okay.
and also surfacing the content.
And yeah, you got okay, these are just ads, right? Lords of the Fallen looks pretty good. Beautiful Light, I haven't seen that. The casting of Frank Stone looks great. Stalker 2, I heard was pretty good. I didn't really look into it that much. Talos Principle 2, I think that's good. Serenity of the Storm, I don't know.
Across Discover, we try to pull top islands from each category.
Cyber City, Boom Tycoon, I don't know about those. He's Daydream, I think that's good. Like, Fortnite stuff has usually been good recently. Oh, that's a music video, Chrono Odyssey. Ooh, that looks great. Talisman demo. Oh, that's a demo.
The next piece of this puzzle
Little tech demo, okay.
so this is how we understand an island.
Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra. It's alright.
Essentially what this boils down to is we have a bunch of different input features like the title, description, thumbnail, as well as like telemetry that includes things like used in the sophistication
Rook.
so devices, animations, and stuff like that, as well as
Okay.
weapons, builds.
It starts off, I think, with
players are engaging with content in the island. We sort of mush
Tech
all
demo?
of that together into a single point in space.
Is this a new tech
Allows us
demo?
to plot islands, kind of like you see.
Can we get this one in Unreal 5.6? That would be really poggers.
And so
Oh no,
gives us
this
a really
might
good understanding
be
of,
a
like,
game.
Ecosystem, what content is pretty similar to each other, and what content is different. So once we have an understanding of the islands, we also then
Looks like that dude from The Mummy, doesn't it?
so we can look at a player's history.
The driver, I mean, that dude who is like the annoying half villain character at the beginning.
Those are different where they might have like a couple of different points in space, right? Like you might play
Not these guys, the guy riding the
completely
carriage.
different genre, and that's okay. And so you'll have two different spots. But if you also only play one genre, then you'll just have one spot.
Okay.
So we kind of match these together, and then we're able to say, hey, like you exist in space here, and there are a bunch of islands around you based on that type of similar content, and we can serve that up to you.
Dragon.
This also works really well for new players who are coming into the ecosystem.
That dragon's gonna vor you.
Categories they're interested in playing.
Or burn
Allows
you,
us to
one of the two.
immediately return recommendations back to them based on whatever they selected, and then as they play content and they fill out their play history, those recommendations slowly adjust over time. So the very last piece of this is just sort of surfacing different model types.
Oh shit.
And that's just different ways
Vor.
to combine island and player representation.
Vor time.
One might be like, hey, we're going to give you like 4 islands that are really similar to something that you just played, or to where we think that you exist within the like this galaxy. Another might be we look at players.
Oh, this Witcher.
Play, and we see that hey, people who played this island.
Witcher
played
4.
these
Okay,
3
I
islands
was dumb
sequence
there.
afterwards,
All right,
and
well,
those islands back to you.
I think
So
he's
we're
talking
sort of
about something
constantly
cool now.
experimenting and testing different versions of similar islands.
No, not yet.
Shuffle
Well, he's talking about something that might be
experimentation
cool,
happening
but
here, to generally try to maximize.
yeah.
you know,
But like this is
bring the
obviously
right
dope
content to the right players.
as hell. You know, series looking really good.
Where if you look at that sequencer model, if I play a 1v1 for 15 minutes, when we look at our players, that's a pretty likely behavior. You might be warming up to play ranked. And so when you exit that 1v1, it might not make sense to serve you 12 more 1v1s. It might make sense to serve you the thing you were warming up for. In the inverse, if I'm a huge variety player and I just love party royales and tycoons and all that stuff, when I leave a tycoon, it's going to make sense for me to serve you other tycoons to make sure you can find
So that's the
others that are
intro
and so
to
when you
it.
think about players intuitively, hopefully you can think about player journeys in your life and your friend's life and see how this might manifest to different types of recommendations and how.
All right, everyone.
Formations. So you've got
Yeah,
fearless
that
cool
ooh,
we wanna add
that gallop
earlier this year, I think,
looks so good.
explicit negative signal from players.
Like that horse is
Hey,
so
I didn't
awesome
experience
looking.
it, and I really didn't like it. Or I see this thing being recommended.
And yeah,
and
you
I'm
can
really
kind of
not
tell the
interested.
muscle structure. You
We
got
can
the
use this as explicit signal to say, hey,
serratus
you shouldn't
interior.
recommend this thing
You
again.
can even
And
see it
also, we can
thread a
adjust
bit
where
with
you are in
each
that galaxy and say,
little
look, away from
bit of
content that you're
walking.
telling us that you're not.
That's hard to do,
So you
right?
should be going live.
Serratus interior movement is hard to get
It
with
takes
just
like 1 to 2 patches.
topology
But it's got-
and animation tools.
And
That's what like they use AI to do it, but
so
still.
many of their old constraints. But we
Cool.
don't want
The
to
last
rest
little bit
until
here for me
everything we
is
do
I
in
want to talk
Unreal
through
has
some of
that
the
same
Discover
spirit
UI
of
changes.
freedom. There's always more
I
work
wanted
to
to
do.
pause here just for a
And
second. Like, we
foliage
want
is
to
Let's
be more
a
see.
huge piece of that puzzle. So we are excited to introduce.
Let's just
Nanite
show the
Foliage.
good pits now. Until he starts
In order
to
to achieve gorgeous
stuff
foliage
that's good.
density everywhere, while still being memory efficient, fast to render, we believe that a new idea was needed. So instead of the same card approach we've been using for the past 20 years, artists should be free to take a nanite approach to foliage, modeling every single leaf and pine needle. And the old LOD tricks of the past, they needed a complete rethink. And in their place, it's a new adaptive voxel representation in nanite.
Ooh.
Volumetric, it's fully 3D, it is super fast to render. And these dense clusters of triangles.
So they're doing voxels now. Okay, so Nanite has definitely improved a lot.
Which, at a distance, they're no larger than a pixel, and they react to the changing light of our dynamic sun and our shadows.
So
They
for
allow
those who
artists-
don't know, like this is stuff that like like that was like that unlimited detail bullshit that came out a while ago. See, like this is why like Nanite can't really be useful for skeletal meshes, of course. But like, yeah, voxels are very much good for static meshes doing this, and like dynamic non-skeletal meshes with like world offset and stuff.
With incredible visuals. But more than that, together with Epic, we created faster way to load the world. We can now
Yeah,
create
this looks
more
great.
content more quickly for the smoothest possible experience as we
So
slow
this is
down
all
and
voxel
catch
stuff
up
now.
with Siri.
I did not think about voxel graphics in Unreal, but yeah, that makes sense. And so yeah, you see some of it, you know,
Progress is a portal.
working on the right. You see like all the
One of those
little
places where you can meet shady characters or overhear gossip from
people
other minds.
just walking about from grain and shit. Yeah, this is like an actual, of course, in an actual
Help you here and explore the marketplace and
gamers game with Witcher 4.
I'm so excited.
The NPCs actually walk around and do stuff.
Let's see what Wagner
Like Avowed is a decent game for Magic Combat, but this game's gonna blow it out the water. I can tell you that. And like that's the thing ultimately. Like Avowed is an okay game, but like it's only good for combat and it's not good for any other part. It's not good as an RPG, right? It's good for magic combat because that magic combat is fucking sick as fuck. I gotta be honest. But when you go to any other element, it's kind of like lame.
Guys, notice how responsive the world is.
And yeah, so NPCs
Character actions directly
interact
affect
with you
other
being
characters.
an
Sometimes
asshole to
even
them, I
setting
guess.
up chain reactions. Everything is
Or
working.
piggies follow you because they're piggies and they're curious little animals. That's always cool.
Look at this
A beggar,
gentle
yeah,
man.
obviously,
He taught
you
how
know,
to fly by
tossing a
using
coin to the beggar.
That's what happens when you cheat at Gwen.
Okay. I'm guessing that happens like with a button press though. So that was slick if he did that. Because otherwise, how would you toss a coin to the beggar? You know.
Okay, so this is the guy who gave the Swedish quest his own. Like you probably suspect, he has his own agenda in all of this.
You're off your tits again, Wilfred. Get your ass up.
A typical day's toil.
Who in? Ah, Witcheress. What news of my wagons? No eternity is taking that damn salt to arrive.
I found them. And, well, suffice to say...
I need to actually play the Witcher games. I have not.
As for the...
I know they're good. I have not played them.
That one spec.
It's like the thing is like I don't play every game just to play it. So like I know it's good. I haven't played it. I need to play
The
it.
smuggling trade is of no
Yeah.
The Manticore.
I need to play a lot of these games to be fair. Like so many of these open world games, it's just that they're so big though. It's like Elden Ring intimidates me not because of how hard it is, but because of how big it is.
In the arse end of Craig?
Yeah, like I hear like the amount of content in Elden Ring, I'm like,
About that merchant, let's take a look at
that's
the
a little
current
bit
technology that
much.
powers this marketplace. Why don't we listen
right?
in on this
And like the
market?
thing is, I get lost in games too easily. That's the issue. Like that's like my main issue with games being too long. I'll just get lost when they're open world. That is, when they're linear, it's easy.
There is tons of tech to play here, even in a simple market stall. Metahuman tools, improved Unreal Smart Objects, Chaos Cloth, and more.
Yeah, and all of this exists to make sure that the gap in quality between Siri and NPCs is as small as possible.
Yeah,
But like
and
that's
closing
like
that
been
gap
my
is not
issue with
just
a
about
lot of
fidelity, right, but
games
also
is I don't really
authenticity.
want to follow
They should
justice.
react to changes
I like
in
my
the world
issue
around
is
them.
really I'm a person who's like, well, I don't want to just follow the story, but I kind of just should just follow the story in a lot of these games, you know? Beat the story and then start doing side quests in another playthrough.
But the great performance deserves a huge crowd though. Let's crank it up.
So you are seeing tons of optimizations here to many of Unreal systems, including an entirely new Unreal animation framework, allowing us to fit easily in our 60 FPS budget, not just in rendering, but also with room to spare on the game thread. Over 300 animated skeletal mesh agents all going about their business. And the whole point is to leave breathing room for developers like you to introduce the gameplay and the systems that your players expect, empowering you to make your world
Nice.
come to life without Unreal standing in your way.
You are right. And that's the open world RPG that we're making. But before we wrap up, how about one final check-in with Siri? We are making this game to be the most immersive and ambitious open world Witcher game ever. And we are making this a reality thanks to our work on Unreal with the team at Epic. I think what we're doing together is going to bring in a new generation of open world RPGs, and I'm so proud of what we accomplished so far.
We are too.
I hope so. Like, you know, this is
We're
amazing.
almost done, but before we go, here's a small gift for all Witcher fans. A first look at Lanexeter.
It definitely looks good. Dragon.
Onward, Kelpie. We've worked.
Alright, so then we have
Let's run
stuff
from
with
the
the
GPU.
trees and stuff.
Thanks to
Yeah.
assembly, we greatly reduce the storage, the runtime memory, and the rendering cost. Then, to display an entire forest, the challenge was to preserve fidelity and performance from any distance. Let's check up close the level of detail we're talking about here.
Damn.
Lots of details. But this triangle representation is not the most efficient when far away, due to the amount of overlapping. And that's why we made an adaptive voxel representation. But in reality, you'll never see those voxels this close, since when we move the camera back, they're barely a pixel. Nanite foliage is almost done. We are moving it to the main line as we speak, and it will be available for everyone in 5.7.
Ooh, okay, so that's
Another thing I would like to
5.7.
share is that ray tracing and Lumen now run more than twice as fast, with no visual trade-off compared to when UE5 was released. And
Damn.
because of that, we can now hit 60 FPS on consoles. And finally, we rewrote the rendering pipeline to run asynchronously so you can increase the richness of your scenes even more.
Well, okay, I'm sold. If this is all
Now let's talk
happening,
about
I
chaos
am
physics.
sold.
For
Ooh.
chaos cloth, we improve
Yeah.
our cloth-to-cloth constraint solution. This removes a lot of collision evaluation when garments are piling up and interacting with each other. Even for complex setup like Series Cape, we hit a sub-millisecond budget on PS5.
Nice.
With Chaos Flesh, we introduce procedural muscle activations to make deformation and motion more natural. Your artist will still have control over tetrahedral simulation and train ML models that run fast in real time. We now support the
Ooh.
baking of fluid surface data into lightweight assets to be played back at low cost.
So we can train the muscle. We can
This is going
train
to
the
give
muscle
high
systems
fidelity
ourselves.
water without
Okay.
the performance
That's actually kind of
of
poggers.
real-time fluid simulation.
We got to look into all that.
For animation, we work on both performance and fidelity. Here, you can see how Siri and Kelpie match up in their interaction. Well, that works no matter the angle of approach. That's our Molds character motion matching solution. We also added motion matching in Sequencer to build stitch tracks. With them, you can seamlessly transition from gameplay to cinematic. Also, we now have a secondary layer of animation driven by physics in Control Rig. We used it in Kelpie's rig to drive the mane, the tail, and the saddlebacks.
Nice.
And now, I'm happy to announce that all these features are already integrated into our new Unreal Animation framework.
All right, so that's going to be pretty good. I have to actually learn some of this stuff, but
which we are
yeah,
releasing as experimental in 5.6.
sweet.
We built it with performance first in mind. Animation evaluation are now running in parallel off the game thread, which was our bottleneck. And for the other character systems that are just as costly, like movement, avoidance, state tree behaviors, we also move them to worker threads. This is really going to help you create scenes that are crowded and lively. So there you go.
All
Unreal
right.
Engine 5.6 is all about performance, and it's available today.
So it's available today. Let me check that actually. Because it was in preview 1 earlier, so let me look that up. Yep, it's updated. And it has a few new templates, I believe, too. So let's okay, so we gotta update the plugins too. Doing that right now.
Please go enjoy the Tech Talks and session we have for you guys, and come chat with us.
5.6.
Oh yeah, there's the metahuman bit.
Community continues to inspire us. It reminds us why we build these tools in the first place.
to make it easier for everyone to tell stories that matter.
Yep.
Now we're entering the next chapter, expanding how you create and animate metahumans with flexible workflows that help you move faster and work smarter. To walk us through some of the biggest features in this release, please welcome filmmaker and virtual production pioneer, Matt Workman.
Here we go.
Thanks, Chris. For those that don't know me, I'm a cinematographer and Unreal Engine developer. I worked on Epic's first in-camera VFX demo, the one with the motorcycle surrounded by LED walls. It was pretty cool. I'm also the creator of Cinetracer, a previous tool used by filmmakers worldwide. I've been using metahumans in my work since the alpha, and recently I've gotten some hands-on time with some of the new features coming in Unreal Engine 5.6. MetaHuman Creator is a fast and intuitive web-based application used for creating digital characters. And now, with the 5.6 release, all of that power is available directly in the editor. That's right, MetaHuman Creator is now fully integrated into Unreal Engine.
Yeah, and it has a bunch of different tools that are good too.
I think it's pretty cool too. You can create and work with metahumans directly in your project, keeping everything connected and in context. And with the new character assemblies, metahumans are built locally, making it even easier to integrate them directly into your pipeline.
MetaHuman Creator is one of Unreal's first cloud-enhanced tools. It means you work locally, but for heavy lifting, tasks like generating high-quality textures or building our complex face and body rigs, we leverage MetaHuman Cloud Services, which deliver high-fidelity results without ever leaving the editor. And in 5.6, local assembly reduces the average MetaHuman export time from 15 to 20 minutes down to 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's actually good.
Team tackled all this while dramatically expanding the core representation model and
Oh, they got the fat Asian kid and Wolverine.
significantly improving visual fidelity. Basically,
Is that Kai Cenat?
even more diverse characters.
Danny Trejo, yeah. I mean, I know they're not like them, but still.
It's freaking fast, and it is in Unreal Editor on
I don't know. I don't know if I would like that
your
one.
local machine.
Yeah, nice, cute
And while
chick.
those are all made
And see, this is the thing, right? Smash AT's thing. What's funny is like Smash AT had a video criticizing them over this stuff. This was already in the source code when he made his criticism video. It's just like they didn't release it until later
major improvements
for
that are
like
starting
general audiences. So like this was available months ago when he made that video.
to scratch the surface here. Metahumans have always had amazing facial customization, and now Epic is bringing that same level of control and realism to the entire body. In UE 5.6, metahumans get a major upgrade with the new parametric body system.
Now, some of these are a little hard to figure out for me, but we'll
Letting you blend
see
between
them.
different presets or fine-tune
yeah.
proportions using real-world measurements like height, inseam, shoulder width.
Yeah, and so this is still like a the cool thing is you can still make androgynous characters, but you're not like tied to it,
even muscle mass. And here's the best part. As the body changes, so does the clothing. The new Unreal Outfit asset automatically adapts garments to the character's body, all in real time, no matter the proportions. As someone who's built these kind of assets before, I can tell you this used to mean manually creating and managing every body variation. The new system does give you the flexibility to create different sizes, and if you do, it will pick the closest match and fit that to the character for you. It makes building a wide array of production-ready characters faster and a whole lot more scalable.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm super excited to see what people do with the new outfit system. And that actually brings us to our next announcement. Starting today, MetaHumans and their accessories are available on Fab, Epic's one-stop shop for digital assets. This is the new MetaHuman channel on Fab, and there's already some great artists and studios sharing and selling content there. I'm going to shift gears for a minute. Matt, do you remember when we unveiled MetaHuman Animator a couple years ago?
All right, let's check that other stream because I kind of want to.
That we're introducing changes I'm not interested in. Or to where we're about.
For updated islands, actually, where
Oh, there we go.
The discovered where they selected, and then as cool. I think I'm going to hand it to
you don't need a ton of. Oh, there's some bugs there.
pull all
Oh, this is all Fortnite stuff right there. Okay. So oh, okay. So oh, okay. So each of these was a different thing. Okay. So the live stream 1 was not what I wanted to look at. It was live stream 3, and then this was like the time. Okay. So this is like different live streams for different people's interests. Okay. So we want live stream 2 and
or even sort of edits
yeah,
and
this
hand keys
doesn't
and
use
things to hit the creative performance.
already.
But it's a real
Where
reflection
you
of
know,
what
right,
happened on
really
it.
this goal of us was that, you know,
Okay,
looking at
sweet.
UE4 work where people were doing custom LODs, a lot of work to kind of bake the lighting, all that kind of stuff. But you know, like take more of this approach of like, well, it just works, right? Can we just you know, get a mesh up there, like insane fidelity, and just make it render without having to create LODs and all that. Like have lighting that just works, right? That bounces, looks good, etc. Also, you know, without baking, without all that kind of stuff. You know, then from there on, obviously we went into this the run up to actually delivering on UE5. So from a tech demo that was like half UE4 and half UE5, really going into 5 itself. And then, you know, like creating a photorealistic city like this for that Matrix and later city demo, and you know, trying to get that fidelity really up. You know, such as, you know, we have trees that are moving. The world interacts when you're like, well, you want to make it inside the editor, like what you see, what you get, right? Really, you know, you don't want to touch.
I gotta learn. So I gotta learn PCG and Substrate. Yeah.
And make that creation workflow much
PCG is just so fucking good.
faster. You know, we had to do some tricks to get this even rendering, but you know, ultimately this was a tooly type workflow of the number where we culminated into, right? So we have this level of fidelity running at 60, not Fortnite level of fidelity, right? We understand that this is more heavy, you know, but also streaming this amount of fidelity through the world and all that, you know, through the systems. You know, we had to do a lot of work on optimization, and you know, I love the fidelity for sure. But yeah, you know, a lot of things we did here, right? Lumen quality and performance.
Yeah, if you're wondering why he's saying like he doesn't know what he's talking about, it's because he has to talk fast. This is like the one problem doing it like a TED Talk format. Like, he knows what he's talking about. He's kind of nervous because he's in front of a billion people and he has to talk fast. But this is like objectively like just how much information he has. He wouldn't be able to tell you it all.
You know, the kind of getting the lumen at the feature set that we had for that Matrix demo, but now running at 60, right? So over that time, we built it like 2 times faster now, right? So that's huge.
I'd say about 4 times faster is really
you know, we have
the
full hardware ray tracing, right? Throughout the journey of us looking at ray tracing from these early demos towards now, we started to realize, also talking to some of the licensees, that, you know, maybe hardware ray tracing is actually ready for prime time, right? So we really started to embrace it, right? Megalights first. This is kind of the accumulation of that, where, you know, everything is going through that pipeline. You know, the other thing here that we did is, you know, we have this VSM shadow mapping, great, but people want to make open worlds with dynamic time of day and all that. So, you know, you can't really cache the shadows, right? If your sunlight is changing every frame, right? Or your moon or whatever. So we spend a lot of time on optimizing the uncached performance of VSM, and also did tricks to make the VSM throttle based on the frame rate. So, you know, maybe the shadow quality goes scene is actually generates these voxels automatically, right? Right now, this expand foliage flag to kind of make the foliage bigger. That was kind of a tricky thing to fix leaves disappearing in the distance. You know, it will generate these voxels automatically, and it will just display them when the clusters are small enough. So, you know, again, right, nanite way, no LODs, no alpha textures, etc. Everything modeled out of the box. Super cool. You know, I think the other thing was kind of interesting is that you know, always throughout these cycles of consoles, you know, you have these first games coming out in the first few years of a console cycle. You're like, that's cool. It's kind of an uprest, maybe, you know, previous gen title with some new tricks and whatever. And I think now we're starting to hit like the second half of the console cycle, right? We can do this kind of stuff. Wow. You know, another thing, right, that we showed is like actually animating these trees. And, you know, these trees, you know, are complex, right? In general, they have like 2 million polygons. You know, they can have like 400 bones, or these normal trees have like 400 bones. So this whole scene has like 100,000 bones being animated on the GPU, and is running in 0.1 millisecond. So super fast, and you can do full wind sims, right? We have demos where the where the wind is directional, goes from every direction.
Like this is pretty insane. I don't know what GPU they're testing this on. I doubt it's a 3060, but having like animation like at that level with that much fidelity is insane, beyond insanity.
So you can start doing really interesting stuff with your foliage to actually, you know, because you're calculating it on a bone level, right? You're not calculating it on a vertex level. So it can be much faster to do complex, crazy stuff. You know, the other thing that we haven't talked about is we're actually even animating the voxels. So the voxels are skinned, you know. You know, it's based on screen size, so everything will animate until it's too small to see, and then we don't animate it anymore. So, you know, even at the background, you see stuff moving. And that's all voxels that are moving. Nice. Yeah, you know, and this technology is great, right? Nanite skeletal assemblies. So we composite these trees out of all these little elements. And, you know, what we call our hero tree, right? Because you have to show off. It's a tech demo after all.
Oh, yeah, true.
You know, 41 million triangles. You know, if you would...
So this is coming in officially in 5.7, but it's in 5.6 right now.
Monolithic mesh, I don't know, what would it be, like hundreds of megabytes or something? Yeah, ridiculous. You can never ship a game like that. So this way, you know, this tree, 12 parts, instantiated 2,000 times, and this hero tree has 850 bones, right? And it moves and it's super small.
So this is just to like put this in perspective. So this is obviously. The triangle count is high, but they have to put in different parts, like, so each of these is different sets of meshes, right? And they're instanced around. So like there's the trunk, there's the little branches, and then there's each of these little pieces, and they're kind of copied and pasted, like the branches and the little tips and all that are copy pasted around the tree basically, and then the skeletal the bones are for like each of the like initial pieces of branch, I guess, so that you can animate them and stuff. That's cool.
You know, the interesting thing is that you know, we need tools, right, to create this kind of geometry, and we don't have the tools yet, right? So that's kind of one of the reasons why it's also coming in slower, and it will take us until like 5.7 to truly deliver on this, because it's working, right? It's rendering, but how do you get the content altered? So you know, you can.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit before we can actually fully integrate with this, unfortunately. But hey,
importers from other things, and they have to make it in the right way. You know, our approach really is to kind of make our own kind of tooling to make trees with our Quixel team, and kind of do that as a tool.
But hey, as long as they get you know, this stuff working at first, this is going to be good.
Forward, you know, a big thing for us has been performance, right? It's kind of the word you've been hearing a lot. I'm really happy about that word. I love 60 hertz. My first game was 60 hertz way back when. But we actually have an initiative at Epic, which you call performance or 60 hertz by default, right? So we want to make sure that everything out of the box is able to run at 60 hertz, right? So it's defaults, it's better templates, it's optimizing the code, it's shipping new best practices for folks.
Yeah, and so by default, as in at minimum, it should be running at 60, not it runs at 60. It should at minimum run at 60. Like, this is something where, like, you know, I rag on Rags a lot because he's easy to rag on, but this is one of the cases where I absolutely 100% agree. 60% is not a standard, it's a minimum, right? Like, you don't want a game to run at 60. You want a game to run as high as it can. 60 is just bare minimum what's tolerable for most people.
Making a new sample, like not a demo, a sample that can actually ship to you that runs at 60 hertz on all the platforms.
Like, of the 3.5 billion gamers, 2.5 demand 60 or higher.
And such.
Right.
You know, more things, nanites, right, for characters, right? You know, characters like metahumans have deformation, right? Have transparent things like eyes and such things. So that's on the dock for like future releases, probably next year. You know, getting Megalites over the finish line, right? We hear people are having good success with Megalites already, but you know, we don't think it's ready for production yet. You know,
Ooh, Substrate. Let's see what Substrate's about.
Like 5.6 with Megalites, because you're in for maybe some painful performance tuning and all that. But you know, we hope to get there maybe by next year. And you know, if you can update to that version, you can ship with Megalites. A lot of improvements actually in Megalites, right? With better denoiser, better performance, directional light improvements in 5.6. You know, stuff that we haven't really talked about much. Substrate is also planning to go into production ready by the end of the year. That's our aim. You know, the goal for us really is to ship Fortnite using Substrate on all platforms without any performance degradation, right? That's key, right? We can't have Fortnite suddenly run slower. So you know, that's our big challenge right now. We're getting close, so you know that's kind of bring it into production ready.
That's good.
It's exciting, which means that if you're working on games now and you have a couple of updates of Unreal to go still, start using Substrate, right? Start looking at it. I think it's next fidelity of materials for sure. Niagara, right? We have with the Valley of the Ancient demo, we really kind of started to deliver on like, okay, well, how do we make these worlds, right? How can we take these Quixel assets, composite the world, you know, layer things on top of each other, kind of figure out like, yeah, maybe
all right, nice.
are not great yet. But yeah, you know, we have world partition streaming in this demo. We have like data layers to turn on and off things, you know, so that's a big step in kind of learning how to use those things. You know, with open world or with City Sample, that was Houdini created, right? So we had fast point cloud importers, but it's kind of a weird workflow if you're working on like Houdini that doesn't look anywhere near your final result, and you know that lack of mosaic is just obviously ripe for changing. You know, a lot of other things happening here, like streaming solutions faster. You know, mass entities, you know, have a big world, you know, things in there happening. So we built this new entity system to kind of simulate all that, and that was cool because we keep working on that going forward. You know, Electric Dreams is that PCG system, right? This culmination of the PCG thing. You know, this took a bunch of years to get to. You know.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Electric Dreams demo is pretty cool. Wait, that's not a demo though, but you can play it. It's pretty cool. Let's look at this though.
Obviously, right, we already shown some of this stuff. You know, a huge amount of performance improvements. You know, we've been hacking away at trying to get streaming performance up and running. A lot of changes went in there, and yeah, we are like 90% faster with this thing called like Fast Geometry Streaming plugin. You know, it kind of takes all the simple geometry out of your world and puts it in a different system that can stream asynchronously and really fast. You know, the other thing that we did there is improve the physics performance. So you know, going through the world and adding things to the physics world, you know, can now go.
Oh shit! Your character is an agent now, right? Because this is what agents kind of do in the Matrix. They kind of like figure out where you are and then like teleport.
Not in this video, but the PCG system
take over
on the GPU, and it's also kind of an interesting view because PCG can run every part of the pipeline, right? You can import things, you can bake, you can do it in the editor, you can bake it out, you can do it on load, but you can also do it.
I mean, your character does have classes, and they never said that the agents, had to look the way they did.
Or runtime on the GPU. It's kind of a way to almost compress things, right? If you have these kind of worlds.
I'm of course using Matrix 1 through 3 lore because Matrix 4 was purposely made by the creator to prevent a Warner Brothers sequel, because Warner Brothers is even more trash than the Matrix 4 was. I can tell you for a fact, Warner Brothers is like anti-quality when it comes to so many things. Yeah.
We're showing, they have millions, of objects, maybe even per cell, right? Just storing the positional data, the orientation, etc. for all these objects is just ridiculous.
Like, obviously the Matrix 4 sucked, but like it sucked on purpose. And really, like, if Warner Brothers didn't own it, I would not like approve of like the creator doing that. But because the creator did it because they wanted to screw over Warner Brothers, as weird as it sounds, I am all for screwing over Warner Brothers.
You don't even want them in your simulation because you're not going to interact.
It's like Ubisoft and Warner Brothers. I'm all for screwing them over. They're just they've ruined so many things.
So some of these things are living exclusively at runtime or even exclusively on the GPU. So they're not even have a CPU representation.
EA as well,
going
a
forward,
bit.
Right, with open world performance, it's really still a big thing, right? Doing simple things more efficiently out of the box without like baking and making crazy tools kind of optimized, right? That's a big thing. We're also looking at like better automatic streaming solutions. So maybe you can make dynamic grids that automatically partition the world based on where the detail is at and such things. Workflows. We're aware, right? It's kind of part of the dev iteration, but editor boot up times, streaming in the editor, going to Pi and back, going to platforms and back. Right, there's a lot of work we're doing there, right? Really kind of helping the creation of the.
Yeah, that is always annoying.
World with large teams, but also small teams, to make them more efficient. And then, another thing is actually shipping high quality biomes that are nanite set up from the start. That have PCG rules built in and can be mixed and blended together easily. So this is some of our internal kind of fidelity tests with our biome type systems, and I think it's starting to get really really cool looking. And we hope to see people even ship biomes on the Fab marketplace and stuff, right? So that's just good content to build your world with. Then higher character counts. Well, we showed in the demo already, like a lot of work on animation system, but also the mass entity systems. To make like LOD type levels of gameplay maybe more easier to create, but also run at performance and hopefully give some more guidance in like how to do that hydration type step if you want to go to upfront. Fidelity.
That's
a lot of things.
Okay, yeah. These are always fun.
In that pipeline,
They are a bit hard to set up, but once you set up the animation tools in Unreal, it's great.
Kind of right there.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that dragon.
Think about like, can we export this skeletal mesh animation and bake out as geometry into a external tool, right? So you can store it and open it in another tool and continue working there if you would so prefer. Going into future, the goal is to allow even sculpting per shot, right? And now you're hitting like movie quality type pipelines where every mesh has a different deformation even per shot, right? So we want to be able to do that to really kind of fix up things if you need to on a per shot basis.
Yeah, That's going to be very good for cutscenes. Not sure about gameplay though.
And maybe last but not least,
But these are good.
a lot of kind of interest and talk about
And this is good.
doing better stylization. Photoreal is nice, but if everything starts looking photoreal, it's also maybe hard to separate all the different games. So stylization, there's cool stuff you can do. And we want to kind of make it easy to take like meta-human level stuff and then push it down on like stylized things and make it target back and forth.
Yeah, a good example is Clair Obscur or anime.
Retargeting, right?
Clair Obscur, by the way, it's subtle, but there's a reason why they look like they all have giant heads. Like that's on purpose. It's a part of the game style.
Really critical, right? You can retarget enemies.
It seems like it's such a simple thing, but that's the point. It's just style is literally just exaggerating certain proportions with in details that you want, right? And minimizing others, right? So because the world is supposed to look like a bunch of drawings and paintings, right? Because it's a bit of spoiler, but you aren't real in the game, right? None of the people are really real, except for the paintress Mael and I forget the dad's name and your sister's name, right? Like and Mael's sister's name. Like these are the 4 actual characters. And part of it is technically a dig at Ubisoft with like the 3rd act, right? The 3rd act kind of introduces the idea that the family is a bunch of creators who are stressed and they're at war with the writers and stuff. This is literally a dig at Ubisoft, right? Like it's obviously more than that. This is just like the one part of that, right? As in, it's not about digging at Ubisoft. It's that there is a dig at Ubisoft in the game, right? Towards the 3rd act. And I like it for that. Because like the dig at Ubisoft, by the way, is that when teams get so large, the creatives tend to start to mesh against each other rather than with each other, right? Teams need to be, a size of people can still be in control
over different
and feel in control without ruining it.
Different sizes.
And so you need to have a small team to do that.
Different organized skeletons. It can run in editor, but it can also run in runtime, right? So for small.
This is why AI is so cool, because it allows you to shrink the teams. And the thing is, everyone who's afraid, you can have more teams, right? Like this is the cool thing. You just have more teams. Everyone's afraid of that, but you just have more teams.
You can actually retarget it,
right?
Right, and there's some really good.
Like people are forgetting that you can just have more teams. Like if everything is smaller budget and still high fidelity, and you don't need as many people on a team, what that just means is yes, there will be less people on each team, but it will also mean there'll just be more teams, right? So there'll be more games coming out than ever that are higher quality than ever before, right? And also more games that are very low quality because, as much as AI allows cool things and dope things, it also allows shit to slop out as well, right? But,
Sequencer has been our...
another thing, though, with people who are on small teams, passion tends to be, like, larger when you know everyone there,
It's become our main kind of UE timeline tool, right? So anything that has a timeline in a real kind of use Sequencer. And Sequencer became really unwieldy and complex to use. So over the past bunch of releases, we've been working on making Sequencer much more usable and making like different views of things to make it easier to handle. You know, with 5.6, a bunch of cool experimental stuff, right? Like the seamless stitching kind of stuff to kind of go from gameplay into the cutscene onto that. We've done a lot of stuff here, right? Meshes, animating of a lot of work that are what 100,000. Thing is called Zen. So Zen, right, started out as you know, the word using, you know, incremental tracing.
All right, so that's good there. Let's look at Livestream 3 then.
Now I'll mention a few of the other things we can see in this list, and here we go. So now you can see that I'm driving from a webcam
Yeah.
to MetaHuman in real time.
Okay, so this one's looking
Hard for me to
pretty good
at
too.
the same time as staying focused on a webcam. As you can probably tell, not the greatest performance. So I'm going to drag in Jihan here, who can hopefully take over and drive our MetaHuman for us. So if you can stay there, Jihan, maybe just come a little bit closer.
There we go.
There we go. So this is now Jihan driving the MetaHuman, but Jihan's features are quite different from mine, so we're getting a little bit of a different result. What I'll do is I'll jump back into the LiveLink source, and I'll show a couple of the more advanced settings. So if I scroll down here, we can open up this smoothing area here.
Oh, sweet.
By default, we do apply some smoothing to the data that we're creating. And this is because different webcams, different lighting conditions, you are going to get a little bit of jitter. And we've got a default smoothing set. But what you can do, if I jump into here and expand these parameters, what you can see here is that MetaHuman facial description standard controls that I mentioned earlier. So these are all the controls that we're generating from our real time to represent the face. And then for each one, you can potentially choose a smoothing method and also how to smooth. So if I take something like this and change the method to €1, you can potentially tweak these. So we'll have a bit more information. I'm not going to go into it in great detail here about, you know, what these different settings do in our documentation. But this is basically a way that if you're really trying to get the most out of the system, you can customize these settings to suit, you know, your environment, your lighting, your camera to, you know, get it as accurate as you can. I'm going to leave those on default for now for this example. And then I'm going to move on to showing capture neutrals. So
All right.
if I click this, oops, sorry. Expand that again.
Okay, so we need to really like skip past to where they like that'll be more for learning it. Oh, yeah, the fucking Belisarius.
So I mentioned before, this is all coming in as LiveLink data and our animation controls. So what this means is existing tools like Take Recorder just work out the box. So I'll open up Take Recorder.
Nice.
And I'll drag in the Kelvin blueprint or character that we're looking at. I'll make sure I'm going to record in the right way. And I will choose to record some body animation. Now, this might be a bit counterintuitive that I'm recording the body, even though we're talking about the face. But with MetaHumans, all of our animation gets sent to the body, and then it's passed through to the face. And that's because we've got this head movement coming in, as well as the facial controls. So by recording these body controls, I'm recording basically the whole performance in one single set of animation.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So basically, another thing about this is you could probably record both of them at the same time, right? So you can record the body animation, and then you can record the separate facial animations, right, to put on top of it, right? Which might be cool.
All I need to do now is record.
So that would be good. If you can separate them, that would be poggers.
And could you give us a little performance, Jihan? There we go. And we'll stop there. So this has been recorded out to a level sequence. I can open up that level sequence, play it back, and we can see that we've recorded straight from live animation coming in. Now that's in a level sequence.
All right. Oh yeah, it's just.
There's one final thing I'm going to show as part of the live demo, which is media bundles.
Oh wait.
All generated entirely from audio in real time. So you could really be using kind of more professional
Audio.
equipment.
So audio functionality and stuff is going. Okay.
Coming in from video. I'll just pop this out and jump back in. so that we can see them a little bit side by side, and we can see that this is solving from video in real time.
All right. Cool. Let's okay.
Prices, but also, you know, if you're
Wolverine. Hell yeah.
Render the high quality that you want in your scene, you could potentially offload that process.
Wolverines.
The phone,
We can have Wolverine.
capture, and these.
Okay. Great. So let's is there any like particular thing we can look at here or no? If not, it's all right. I'm only going to cover the first bit of this day. But yeah, the engine is available right now. You guys can all download this, right? Like right now, you guys can all, every single one of you download this. So yeah. So I suggest, you know, anyone who wants to do it. I'm gonna be using it as well. So yeah.